I'm Kristen Niemer reporting for the Food Channel. We are currently at NRA and I'm standing here with Wendy Chan. Wendy, tell me a little bit about Korean food in the United States.
Well, Korean food in the United States has definitely been increasingly popular. And the goal of our participating at the NRA show is another example of our outreach through different means, and in this case, to tastemakers and chefs and people in the food business. And we have come up with a theme of from royalty to reinvention, because we understand that we don't just want to tell you how it's done in Korea. We are going to offer different tastes, including those how it's done in America. So we have classic dishes like gujulpan, which is like 9 treasures. Classic in the sense that it is done imperial style. So there's a very proper way of doing it. As you can see, food laid down here is very colorful and tasty and aromatic. Right. And then we also have newer ways of outreaching to Americans, such as the Koji truck people. The Koji truck people are like the sensation right now. They're from Los Angeles and have come up with this idea of incorporating Korean flavors into very popular street foods. So from the bulgogi, which is like grilled beef, marinated with soy sauce, garlic, and all that, inside tacos. And then we also have kimchi quesadillas. So with tortilla and cheese, we also have kimchi inside, and also sesame leaves. These are very classic Korean flavors, but for people who are not familiar, they would not feel intimidated. So we feel this is the best way to introduce to all kinds of people, and then they realize that, hey, this is very tasty, and there's no mental barrier. And there are many exhibitors coming from Korea this time, from sea salt to pepper sauce, and also a chain which is specializing in bibimbap. I think bibimbap has been really hitting the streets these days. It's a easy dish in a way. It's easy to understand and easy to accept because it's rice bowl topped with all kinds of chopped vegetables and sometimes beef and other seafood. And a lot of Koreans love to make it red too. They love it hot. And so we also have all kinds of other exhibitors really taking a piece of Korean cuisine to introduce to the food service people today.
So how do you pronounce it again?
Bibimbap. Yes. It's a very colorful dish. And for those people who don't know, usually they have chopped vegetables and eggs, which are all on top of a bowl of rice, neatly arranged, sometimes topped with an egg, a fried egg, and then you mix it, and then you mix it with a sauce as well. So it's a very healthy dish as well.
Sounds really good, very light.
Light and also nutritious, I would say. It's not a junk food type of thing, which is enjoyable and tasty and good for you, healthy.
Great. Tell me a little bit about Koreans being more interested in culinary school and going to...
Yes. It seems like of all the Asian countries, Korea has been sending the most number of students to be enrolled in the local culinary schools, and they are outstanding students. From the CIA to Johnson & Wales, everywhere I went and visited the campuses and cooking schools, they told me, this is our Korean society, or this is our Korean team. And every professor has been telling me that there are bright students coming out from Korea. Many of them have graduated and have entered into different top restaurants from Napa Valley to New York City. So these are really bringing Korean sensibility at the same time, outreaching to the American in ways that are sophisticated and also introducing subtly their own flavors and influence. So I think that's brilliant, How else would you consider a chef at Waldorf Astoria, for instance, making their own kimchi, It's unheard of years ago. I have John Georges telling me that he loves kimchi. And so many chefs are discovering the wonderful complex flavors of Korean food. And as a result, they're anxious to learn more. That's why we have like a whole table set with flavors, explaining how you can make them into salad dressings, into marinades. That will create another depth of flavor, which otherwise, you become the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I heard you earlier talking about how Chinese food came into America and it's just exploded. So what sets you apart from Chinese food?
Well, Chinese food came into America with a much longer history. And, for those who don't know, they have more restaurants or eateries or points of service than McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King combined, like 40,000 of them. So in terms of number, Korean food will not be able to catch up. But I think recently people have discovered that Korean food is full of sensibilities, full of interesting flavors, and it's very balanced because they take advantage of the flavor balance, the sweet, the sour, and all these, including umami, if you ask me, fifth taste, because they have all kinds of ingredients, including kimchi, which is a fermented vegetable, commonly used in many of the dishes that gives it its unique flavor and profile of Korean flavors. So I think more and more Americans will discover Korean food is interesting, tasty, healthful, and hip as well. I mean, I can't emphasize it more than introducing the people from Los Angeles, because they outreach to skateboarders, hip-hop dancers, and they really rock. And I think that's the best way to introduce a cuisine. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much,
Thank
Wendy.
you, Kristen.
Thank you.
Thank you.